Hey, guess what, everybody? It's time for another video on another D4D engine. This is a D4D engine. The Toyota range of D4D engines. How to look after them and what to do, what not to do. What's this one here? It's a 2015. Look at that charcoal again. Isn't it beautiful? The old charcoal 2015 150 Prados. Anyway, 2015, so it's 9 years old. It's done just over 200,000 Ks, maybe 207 or something. I'd have to check, can't remember. And guess what? Yes, it's here for some injector maintenance, right? The idea is it's not like, oh, you know, these are bad engines and it's running bad. It's like your oil, right? You know, you don't wait till it's bad to change it. You do it every 10,000 kilometers. Preventative maintenance, oil and filter, right? Same thing with the injectors, people. Now, some people say, oh, you know, in these old cars, you know, we never used to have to worry about all this changing injectors. Well, no, you just drove around puffing out all this black smoke everywhere. You just didn't care. There's still plenty of people that do it today. But what the difference is, as I mentioned briefly in another video, this isn't a 6-cylinder. It's not a V8. It's a 4-cylinder and a big 4-wheel drive. Big and as heavy as they ever were, right? Because they got more gear in them, they get heavier. And it's putting out, they're highly strung. They're putting out a very high amount of power and torque for a 4-cylinder diesel engine. And you need to keep it running in Mickey Mouse peak condition if you want to have your best chances of avoiding the cracked piston. And, you know, when I say your best chances, there's other contributors as well. We've already said it many times before. Chips, tunes, remaps is the number one. Old flogged injectors is number two. And there's another of other contributors. We've got a number of playlists on our YouTube channel. So have a bit of a look at those playlists: cracked pistons, engine maintenance, injector replacement, injector info, EGR cleaning. Do some stuff yourself, save some money. Funny thing is, I'm not really here to sell you anything. I'm here to put myself out of business. So there is some things we do. One of the main things we do here in the Prado Hospital is exactly this: make videos. I mean, replace injectors, right? So injector replacement, EGR cleans, intake cleans, replacing turbos. BFE jobs are very popular, and of course a lot of people are very popular to do it themselves. So while you're saving your money, there's a number of people out there saving money to get their injector kit or their BFE kit or whatever the case may be. That's great. Or your front hub assemblies for your Prados or Hiluxes. All of that should probably come before a suspension. Suspension's Tuesday, that's another story, right? So Monday, 7:30 a.m. text message. Hey everybody, in case you didn't know, I haven't said it for probably over a year, a long time, but I thought I said it enough times. I only work school hours, okay? So that means after 9 a.m. till before 3 p.m, Monday to Friday. And I also want to add Thursday and Friday are my days off. Wednesday's pretty much almost a day off, and Tuesday I'm working on it, and Monday I'm working on that one as well, because, you know, it's just how it is. Yeah, in a dream world, right? So my point is, you've got to listen. There's only one of me. There's thousands of you. So I've got to do things at set times, set procedures. And if you want to get looked after and save heaps of money and keep it reliable, just follow all the information. Text me 7:30 a.m. Monday mornings. We're about to have some changes soon. I'll give you the heads up now. Soon I'm going to say, text me anytime you like to order your parts kits. I don't really care. Monday to Friday between 9 and 3, right? Any day that suits you better, does it? No problem, right? So I'll do that. But just understand the days we pack and send are going to be set to 2 days a week. For example, it might be Monday morning and Friday morning or Friday afternoon, and any other random time we feel like. So if you text me at 1 p.m. Tuesday, that's no problem. I'll send you the order. You can pay for it. Next time we're packing, we'll go and check, you know, we go by what payments are in the bank, and bada bing, bada boom. So that'll be even more flexible for you people. But you need to understand, I'm not on standby. It's a customer service thing. I've got to tell you how I roll. I do what I say what I do, I do what I say what I do, I do what I say what I do, I say what I do, and I do what I say. You know, try and say it, you know, you try that, right? Anyway, this thing, besides injectors, it's also here for a couple other little jobs. It's got an oil leak, right? There's actually oil dripping out, and he thought it might be the front diff seal. Good call, but I doubt it because they rarely leak. But just like these engines, they don't leak oil. So what's going on? Let's get it up in the air and have a bit of a look and see what this oil leak is, eh? Well, so I've done a bit of an inspection underneath the vehicle, but I'm not going to bore you with the details because you've seen heaps of vehicle inspections before. And being a 150 with only about a bit over 200,000 Ks on the clock, nothing to see here. I'm not even looking at the bushes yet because yes, look, we have got an oil leak. The first oil leak on a 1KD FTV I've ever seen. Well, except for the ones that have been caused by people and that plug thing that happens every now and then. All I'm going to say is brake pads getting low, so it's time to get on that LSI Auto website, lsiauto.com.au. Cheap, genuine brake pads, cheap rotors if you want. I'm not saying this needs rotors. I think they look pretty good from memory. Let's have a bit of a look in there. Look, so they're nice and flat, genuine Toyota rotors. I wouldn't change the rotors. If the braking's smooth, I'd break the rules and just chuck a set of genuine pads in there, like we've done thousands of times, and it won't be a problem. Bear them in nice and slow. And don't forget the discount code, FOURBY4-2024. FOURBY number 4-2024. Nothing in it for me, just trying to tell you about good customer service. They ship it out really quick, genuine parts, cheap prices. I've got the rotors on 3 of our cars, no problem. Heaps of people use them. Haven't heard any complaints yet. Everybody's happy, so why wouldn't I tell you about it? Just like I'm telling you about this oil leak. Wow, so this is the first oil leak. You can see the drips right there. Certainly looks like diesel oil to me. A bit of an odd place where it's coming from there. Let's give you a bit of a situation, right? So steering rack, sway bar, bash plate, directly in line. It's going on the diff bracket there. All right, so let's have a bit of a look around. Any oil on the bottom of the turbo? Nope. Right, any oil on the sump around this end? No, bone dry all the way up here, bone dry. It's definitely not coming from the valve cover, anything like that. Nothing to do with the transmission. It's bone dry, transfer case, bone dry. Obviously it's not, I'm just showing you bone dry, just a 9-year-old car. There's a bit of a story with this one. It did get parked in a big bog hole. I can't remember how long ago. If he's game, he might put it in the comments. But since this happened, apparently Toyota, it's not necessarily a good thing that they've torn it down end to end and replaced every other bearing and bits and pieces because of the damage that happened in this muddy bog hole or whatever happened. It's kind of bad news. But look, it's good if they've replaced things, I guess, but it's not good if it hasn't been done right. And we know that can be a lot of luck of the draw. So bone dry. I'm going to try and get the camera up and around there. You're going to need to use that like button. Right, I'm going to try and get the camera in there to show you where the wetness is coming from. It's going to be hard to see. Underneath the middle of the bash plate, bone dry. So it's not coming from the sump plug that I'd think, oh yeah, maybe someone's done a service. It's coming, I'll tell you what's directly above here without even looking, and it's very difficult to see in there without taking bash plates off. And in this video, I'm not taking the bash plates off, so we might not get to the bottom of it. Going to drop it down, we're going to do the injector job, we're going to give it a good clean up, and I think we're going to get it back another time after a good wash down. We're going to do a service and whatever, we might wash it with the bash plates off, but I want to have a preliminary look, if you know what I mean. So what's directly above here? You got things like the vacuum pump, the vane pump, the supply pump, right? So let's put in simple terms. The vacuum pump, it's the pump that creates the vacuum for the brake booster and the engine mounts and a few other things. The vane pump is the power steering pump. They're both mechanically gear driven and they're bolted onto the engine. And the supply pump, high pressure fuel supply pump above that. Unlikely that it's that. It's going to be one of the bottom two. Or if you follow it along, you'll see there is a crank seal over this side that can sweat a little bit. Let's just have a bit of a peek in there. Starting off over this side, right? Do the best we can with what we've got. Like I said, very difficult to get in there. So you just can't see around anything with the bash plates on, can you? But look, there's no oil around this side. Let's have a bit of a look-see. Look, let's zoom across over onto the, right? That's oil on top of the diff, so it's coming from above the diff, it would appear. So we might actually have a bit of a look in the engine bay up top before we wrap this one up. Right. It could be, look, first oil leak, really. This is a leak, people. I'm not talking about a bit of wetness. We've seen wetness at the vane pump and the vacuum pump, just a bit of wetness. This is a leak. When you've got drips forming, right, that are dripping onto the ground. So we've got 1, 2, look, we'll get the color of the oil for you. Look at that, look how black it is, right? There's 1, 2, 3. There it is on the thingy. You know that's diesel oil, there's no doubt about it, all right? As you can imagine, I had to have a bit of a clean up. Now, where are we gonna get in here to have a look at this darn thing, right? Because nothing seems to be giving me any access, right? I might have to have a look on the video myself. All right, I'm gonna put this video up. I'm gonna look at the comments, and later in another video, right? Later in another video, I'll tell you what the oil leak was, right? So you can have a look around, you can try and figure out, you can put in the comments. So we're playing a game now. So there's oil on the steering rack, there's oil on leaking on the diff. It's coming down this cross member. Up the back, you know that plug? Oh, guess what? There's no plug there because some of these later engines, they don't have the plug if you've got the right engine in the car. Someone's certainly worked on it. They put starter motors in it because there's a zip tie over there that isn't normally zip tied. Let's get in here and see what we can see. Remembering that I can't see even what I'm shooting this camera at. I'm just waving it around up there. All right, I'm just gonna wave it around and you people can have a look and let me know. You know more than I do at the moment. Looks like oil up there coming off something as well. It's coming from somewhere up higher, isn't it? Right, so this is how you find oil leaks, people. You start and you look and you got to trace it. Sometimes you got to wash it down and have a look. These it's definitely going to need the bash plates off and it's going to need a wash. Let's have a good look around from under the bonnet side of things. See what happens when antennas are too long. Ha ha, they just don't need to be that long. Yeah, I'm a bit dodgy. Every now and then you hear it and I stop and I have a look and I go, so close, it's only got to go a little bit further, and I just give it another 10, 15 mil and it pushes through the insulation. No damage or anything really, but get yourself a shorter antenna, mate. What are you trying to compensate for something? All right, back to this end of things. Let's see what we can see from up here. Looks like it is coming from as high as the supply pump. Right, what's that clamp doing? It looks like it's moved a little bit as well. Is that? You got to be careful how much work these people have actually done. So, look, possibilities. Right, it's a hard one. Yeah, there's oil around that supply pump, so it could be the supply pump, right? Have a look, people. That's the highest thing that I can see with oil on it. So there's oil all around it. It's quite wet underneath, hitting the next pump underneath, right? Remember we talked about the vane pump, the vacuum pump. So one's at the front here, right? Right, that's your vacuum pump. So it's got the vacuum line coming off it. Looks pretty clean at that end of things, although, you know, like I said, you can't see a lot. So it's pretty clean at the front. So I'm not going to call like a crankshaft seal, timing seal there at the front of the crankshaft. But a supply pump's a big job. But look, see the SCV's even wet. I'll zoom in on the SCV, right? So you get down there. All right, see that? See the SCV's wet? Unusual. I've never seen the SCV wet before. So I wonder if the supply pump was taken out for any reason. I'll send this video to the client, maybe can shed some light. But big job fixing oil leak. It won't be on this visit. So what we'll do, I think, is we'll get the injector job done. We'll do the service. We'll get the bash plates off. We'll try and give it a good clean with the plates off and try and get it back in a short period of time after a lot of degreaser and washing. Try and pinpoint that because obviously the options are the vacuum pump, the vane pump, the supply pump, the crank sensor, the seal on that, maybe, I doubt it. The behind the harmonic balancer, the crankshaft seal at the timing cover there, whatever, which I don't think so because you're not going to have oil down there and oil here. That'd be too much of a coincidence. But then weird things happen, and that's another reason why I do videos, so I can just show you how I think and how I roll, because sometimes bizarre things happen, like a 1KD having an oil. This is bizarre, people. So never seen a supply pump O-ring leaking before in my life. I've never seen that many drips coming off a 1KD in my life, unless somebody's worked on it. You know what I mean? They've done some injector job and busted the valve cover and there's oil pouring out, or seals are popping out from catch cans being, I mean, weird things cause problems, but I'm talking, this is a pretty genuine vehicle. There's no catch can. I don't know what's caused it. Again, I'm going to blame from someone working on it because it's just not normal. And I believe we're going to have to get that supply pump out, which means timing, there's quite a bit of work, man. Hours and hours of work, really, to get that supply pump out. So all this gear, you may as well combine it with a BFE job, but we're at just over 200,000 Ks. BFE is not due till 300, but then again, whoever did the time belt probably didn't do a BFE, so maybe we'd be doing a part BFE, so fan and all this stuff would come out to get to the timing cover, get all this off, to pop the pump out, to change an O-ring. Crazy stuff. And then a big cleanup, and hopefully that was it. Anyway, that's my thinking. Hope that helps you people trace down your oil leaks. I'll call this first bloody oil leak I've ever seen on a 1KD FTV, and I hope you understand the way I'm thinking, because as far as I'm concerned, it is. All right, catch ya.